Everybody, it's Madmaxed with another video about Raid, and today we're going to talk about Geomancer. Now, Geomancer is a really good alternate to Ninja. Now, he's a lot easier to build than Ninja is. He does pretty close to the same damage. He's not going to get you as much as Ninja does, but he's probably the closest second that you're going to have in the game. Now, in some cases, he'll outperform Ninja. Your team will outperform Ninja, especially when the clan boss turns red. Now, we're going to look at his gear. I mean, I've got lifesteal gear on. It could be stalwart gear because you would receive that 30% less damage. Now, you want his HP up over 30-something thousand at least. You want his attack up as high as possible. You want his defense up at least over 2,000 something. I mean, he really needs another 500 or 600 defense minimum. Now, his speed has to be over 170. Why? Because if you're doing Nightmare Clan Boss, which I'm fixing to do, because the Nightmare Clan Boss is at 170, you want his crit damage as high as possible. And then you want his accuracy up over 200 anyway. And he's got a lot more accuracy than he just needs. Now, when you look at his masteries that I've got, and I've got two that I didn't even do yet, but I've got the offensive line, which is the most important part. Now, you want his crit rate up, of course. You want his crit damage. Then you've got the masteries for increased damage inflicted targets less than 40% HP. So when the clan boss is down below 40%, he's automatically going to get 5% more damage. Increased damage is inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. He's always going to get that extra 6% from that because he always had more HP. Then you're going to increase damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with 50% HP or less. And there's a lot of times you're just going to have less than that. Then healed by 5%, that helps. But you want to come down here and you want to get the extra 20% crit damage. And one of the patches, they made it where these are just useless, where War Master is not any good and Giant Slayer and all that you normally use. They did a special patch on him back a few months ago. And so this was the default skill to use on Geomancer. Now the support line, that's just for extra accuracy that I don't really need on him. I like Lore of Steel because it adds 15% stats to all the equipment. It's one of the better traits in here. Now, when you look at his skills, and this is what makes him so valuable in Clan Boss. Now, his A1 is booked out, but the reason his A1 booked out, I had to get the other ones booked out. The other ones were the important ones, but the books fell in here. You don't get a choice. You don't really care about the decreased accuracy on the clan boss. You're not going to get you can't resist his stun. I mean, that's the only debuff he really throws except for a poison on some of the other ones. And it's only the 2.5%, which is nothing. So you don't really care about this accuracy, this decreased accuracy, because you can't resist the stun anyway. Now, what you care about, though, is to get him booked out in his A3 because it lessens the cooldown to 3 turns. And he has a 100% chance of placing with enough accuracy, which, you need over the 200. But now he's got enough accuracy, it doesn't matter what color the clan boss is, on Nightmare, he's going to make this thing stick. So he's going to have HP burn and weaken up for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. That's 100% uptime. Now, he is not my stun target because when you look at him, he's got 2,000. He's got a little over 2,000 defense. The one with the most defense is your stun target, and on clan balls. So keep that in mind. So he's not the stun target. He's never going to get stunned unless he's just the last one. He's the last one standing. So he's always going to be able to throw this, and he's always going to have this up. So you've got 100% uptime on the HP burn, 100% uptime on the weaken. Wigan does a lot more damage to the clan boss. Okay, so now he will reflect 15% of the damage that he receives for all the allies back to the clan boss when he's under this HP burn. Now, the clan boss is always going to have the HP burn up. This is what, if you're going to do him, when you set the team setup, this is the first thing you want to throw on the clan boss, because you want that burn up always, where you get the burn and the weaken up. And then when the clan boss does his AoE attacks, all that damage that you take, if it's 10k for everybody, that's 50k damage. So he reflects 15% of that damage back. And it's also about how much crit damage you got, crit rate, all that. So it's all reflected back to him. Now, when you go in and you look, and when he gets to red, now if the clan boss is red, and you've got Ninja in there, I take Ninja out. I usually use Ninja. But when it gets to the red part, Ninja isn't that good as Geomancer is. And why? Because he's red. And that's the bad affinity for Ninja. So he's doing 30% less damage. He's taking 30% more damage. So he's going to get knocked out some. And yeah, I've got Arbiter to pick him up, revive him, but still, you're losing him a lot, because he'll get where he just can't stay alive around level 25 or 26, because he's receiving a lot more damage from the clan boss. Well, with this up, and you're receiving 15% less damage always. And if he's red, he gets that buff every 3 turns, where the clan boss does 25% more damage. Well, his A2, after about level 20, I'll start manually so that I don't use this at the wrong time. But he'll go in, as long as the HP burns up, it always is, he will steal that buff from him. So you'll see that he never gets that buff up. I mean, when it goes up, Geomancer's there to sit down and take that buff down. So you've lost 40% of the damage by just having Geomancer on your team, to your team. And 40% damage is huge on Nightmare Clan Boss. I mean, that's going to make you go several extra turns. As far as a red Clan Boss, Geomancer is the way to go over Ninja, because you're keeping your team alive a lot longer. He's doing just as much damage, and so you're going to get a lot more damage out of him. Now, if we go in and we watch the Clan Boss fight with this, and I mean, I've got this thing and I just auto it for the first 20 something rounds and it just goes. But now it's not even the wrong affinity right now. I mean, if you look, he's blue, Ninja's blue. So it means it's 100% just straight across. Now, where it's bad at is on Fayen. Fayen's green. So, she's going to drop out earlier a lot of times. She's not going to stick her debuffs as much because of that. So when I go into this, and I'm going to take this one off, and I'm going to take Ninja out, and I'm going to put Geomancer in. And when I put Geomancer in, I'm going to want that to always be number 1, because I always want the burns up as much as possible. And I just let this thing go. I mean, there's not much to this. And then, I wish I had Fayen up a little bit higher on the accuracy, so where her debuff stuck a little bit better. I've got her speed up right now where she will always attack. And see, she stuck at that time where she got up her decrease attack by 60%. That's huge against Clan Boss. And, and her speed is up. Now, watch. Now, see, he threw the default one. So it didn't remove the buff. But of course, at level 1, it doesn't really make any difference. And but that's the thing about this AI. You can't tell it when this thing comes up right what you need and when. But now, if I go in here and I manual it, you see I pulled that debuff off where he had 25% more damage. And now, I'll just let it go for a while. I mean, it's like with the Arbiter on here, she's going to speed them up some. You know, this is a pretty good team for Nightmare. I mean, it's always about 40, 45K, 40, 45 mil worth of damage to it. You know, sometimes it's in the 30s. There's nothing you do about that. You just get a bad where he crits everybody at one time. And that's not common because he didn't have that high crit rate. But as you go through and you watch this, I mean, you know, now we're automatically receiving 15% less damage right there. Now he goes through and Arbiter pulled it down by 1. He pulled the debuff off again, and it's in sync right now. But it can get out of sync because the timing is a little bit different than the clan bosses. But right now, it's perfectly in sync. You don't have to fool with it. It's just a nice, easy auto run. And it just goes through. Now, right now, if I had Ninja here and it was on Void, I'd probably have, you know, at the end of 5 rounds, I'd probably have 6 million plus damage. And his damage goes up because of that reflex zone and that 100% all the time. But this team it's going to go a little bit longer than the team with Ninja on because there's less damage to the team. And see, now all that damage just went back to him. And that's just, didn't do anything. It used to show. I used to like the graphics to it before they changed everything. And, you know, it was really nice. It pulls the buff again. You know, and I used to like, you know, you would see every time he did the AoE attack, you would see it just the white bolts coming out and stuff. It doesn't do that anymore. But now, you know, now when you look at it and stuff, you don't even see the damage. It's just except for the numbers on the side. But see, he's always got that burn up, 100% of the time. And that's 100% the time uptime for weaken. Of course, Fayen keeps that up too. Because Fayen is that she's got the speed. She wraps the clan boss every 2 turns. She is doing 3 turns. So she's always got that weaken up. She's always got, you know, she's always got that weaken, that drop defense. She's always got up that decrease attack. Now he'll probably pull, well, he didn't do it that time. See, he got out of sync again. And see, Fayen hasn't even got the decreased attack up. And they receive a lot more damage because of that. But see, we're up to almost 10 mil on count 11. And he's a close second to Ninja. I mean, he's not a bad damage dealer at all. I mean, yeah, Ninja's going to do a lot more. I mean, he was just made to be clan boss killer. You know, where Geo's really not made for that, but he's still good at it. Whereas, you know, he's one of the better ones as far as damage dealers you're going to get. I mean, there's some legendaries that probably is good or better, but you know, if the problem with that is you still got to book all those legendaries, and it's hard to get books for legendaries. But see, it's not much damage they're getting, even at level 14. And you know, this just him cutting it off. I mean, right now, if I'd had Ninja in here, I would probably be up to about close to 20 million. I mean, there's that much damage difference. But I also wouldn't be going as many rounds either. This thing will probably go 33, 34 rounds. And once you get into about once you get into like level 16 or so, and I'll sit down and I'll start manualing the thing because I really want to pull the buffs off from him. And see, he's still got that buff up. And I need to get that buff back into where it goes into the right amount. and sync it back up. Because it does get out of sync because his timing's a little bit different than the clam balls. Plus, with Arbiter on there, she's speeding him up a little bit more, so you're going to get out of whack. I mean, there's no way you can control that unless you just go through and you tweak this thing like crazy as far as speed. But, of course, the Arbiter speeding everybody else up and giving that increased attack, it helps with your damage too. And Bad L, he doesn't really get much for the attack. I mean, Phaeton gets more from it. That increased attack is more for Phaeton and more for Geo than it is for Bad L, because Bad L is really there, just nothing more than for that poison. I don't have much attack on him. See, you're at round 20. You see how little bit that AoE damage did? Well, that's because 15% of it just went back to him. And the longer this goes, the more damage Geo's going to do because that clam boss does more damage. So the more damage you're taking, the more it's getting reflected back to him. And and it's only on the AoE attacks, but this works really great for us, like especially if you can get a team that's really tanky. And this isn't a tanky team. The more tankier the team is, the more hit points they have. Because, they have to receive the damage. I mean, it's like if they got 100K worth of hit points and they're losing 50% of their hit points, say, if everybody had 100K. Well, that is 250,000 points worth of damage, and 15% of that is being reflected back. So that's about 40K worth of damage every time he throws an AoE attack. But see, we're at round 22, and our damage is going up. Our damage goes up all the time. And unfortunately, you cannot go in and you cannot resist that stun. And I think he just used his steel. I think he's out of sync again. And see, his steel and now it's back. That's the reason around 20. I mean, I should have already started with manualing this thing because right now, see, you were getting 25% more damage. And see, and we got 25% more damage from the fact that I didn't go in, I didn't manual the thing. If I had manualed it when I got through, he would have sat down and he would have stowed that buff, and none of these people would have been dead. But still, though, we got 24 mil out of this, and this was with Geo. But like I said, around level 20, you want to make sure you're on manual because you always want to pull that off. Because like you look at what he did, how many people he killed with that one hit when he had that 25% up. But if you manual that, you won't have that. I mean, he could have got up over 30 mil easy, and I've done that before with this. But anyway, that's Geo. That's how Geo works. That's how you should do him. He as far as that. I've used him in Doom Tower even. When I want to go in and I just want to do, when I'm going to do a short thing about the Doom Tower with him. When I go in here, let's say I'm 48 normal. And I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to use all my nukers. I'm not going to use anything but the nukers. Now, Geo is actually good for your lead. He's got a 25% HP increase. So he's going to keep you alive longer that way too. But when you look, when he goes in, and this is Nightmare, and he's with a bunch of nukers because that's all he does. He throws an AoE attack, just like Skullcrown. All these guys have some really good AoE attacks, every one of them. And they make really quick work out of Doom Tower. And it's all because, they have a lot of speed. And, their speed is so much faster. But that's a 37-second run with 22 turns on level 48 with him. Now you can use him as your lead. If I had his damage up higher, he would be my lead, because when you look at him and you look at his aura is a 25% increased HP in all battle. That's a pretty good aura. So automatically when you look, he's got 31k worth of hit points right now. Well, now 25% more of that is going to give him another 8,000. And it's going to give everybody else on the team like that, because everybody else is going to have usually 30,000 or more hit points. I mean, you look at Bad L, he's got 64k. Well, if he's the lead, he's not got 64k. He's got 25% on top of that. And that makes a big difference about keeping him alive. The only reason I have Bad L is because everybody doesn't have their crit rate up high enough. And if I re-gear him, he would probably be my lead, and I need about another 30% on him for the crit rate up. And if I had that, I'd take Bad L out. And what I would do is I put Geo in charge, and I'd go a lot longer because I got 25% more hit points, and everybody's not liable to die as much either. But Geo is a good alternative to Ninja. I mean, it's like, especially if you'll manual him, and I forgot to start manual him at like round 21 or so, because when you manual him and he's pulling that 25% attack off at clan balls, that's huge about keeping you alive. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like Geo. Geo's he's a great little guy for clan balls. And like I said, he's second best to Ninja for it. And he's easy to book. He's easier to book than Ninja. He's easier to gear than Ninja. And he make a really fine addition to your team. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and hit the like button.